And now he is also the director of the Netaji Research Bureau in Kolkata, India, a research center and archives devoted to the life and work of his great uncle, the Indian nationalist Subhash.
In Cambridge University was when in the early 1980s I was waiting for Professor Amartya to arrive from Oxford. There is no direct train link between Oxford and Cambridge, so you either have to come by train via London or you have to come by bus. But on that occasion Professor Amartya was driving himself, and he kept calling me saying that he would be delayed somewhat, and then eventually he arrived. And we walked along the backs of Cambridge and discussed many subjects, including his recent book, Poverty and Famines. And I was at that time working on the 1930s depression and its impact on the agrarian economy of India and Asia. And then I remember we together went to visit Ian Stephens, former editor of The Statesman, who had broken the news of the Great Bengal famine late in 1943. So, Amartya, let us begin at the beginning. Since my birth date has been given away by the person who was introducing us, it was before I was born that you made your first sea voyage to the United Kingdom. And would you start by telling us a little about that? Because there were other students from Calcutta, very bright young economists and historians who travelled with you. And what were your expectations? It was just 6 years after India had become free of British rule, and yet of course the world of English literature had always cast a spell on young Indians growing up here. So let us begin with your first voyage to the UK.
Well, that was in 1953. Yeah. I had actually applied earlier to Trinity College, Cambridge, and they had promptly rejected my application. So it's only the last moment in August I got a cable saying that somebody had dropped out. Therefore, if I could find myself in England by the end of September, then I could go to Trinity College. We tried to check whether I could fly, and it soon emerged, despite the politeness of the BOAC, which is the parent of the British Airways and Air India, that we couldn't afford airfare. But oddly enough, in those days, going by ship with 19 days of free accommodation, free meal, and for those who were able to drink it, I was only very much a novice in that in those days, also free wine, and that was cheaper than an economy class to South fare. So I found myself in this boat in Satneva. The boat was called Satneva, and I joined, and I knew a few people already. One of them was a classmate of mine, Pastor Gupta, a very distinguished historian. He was going to Oxford. Then there was Topham Lai-Chaudhuri, or Topham Da as we called him, whom I had met in Calcutta before going and viewed him with great awe. And there were a number of other students going there. It included also Romila Kappa. So I must say, I never managed to speak with her in the boat of 19 days. She had her own rather advanced company at that time than we had. For many of us, and for me particularly, English wasn't an entirely fluent language. At the time, English was my third language. As a Bengali was naturally my mother tongue. My second language was Sanskrit. Partly because I was being brought up by a Sanskritist grandfather, named Kitty Sen. But mostly because my English was rather slow in progress. That was my third language. So anyway, I was not entirely comfortable chatting with people, excepting people who were from Calcutta and elsewhere, and There were a number of us in that group.